We are in the Northeastern Division under the leadership of Superintendent Ezra Maycock. We have an exciting topic and to share with you as it relates to crime prevention. From 1840 to now, the police were asking all the questions. And so, ladies and gentlemen, now is your time to ask the question and share your views. The table are filled with crime prevention practitioners. Ladies and gentlemen, we are eager to share our information and get your input on what and how to improve in your communities and your business. So, ladies and gentlemen, I say welcome.
We are excited to get into the main parts of the program, and we thank you for your remarks, Superintendent Pratt. Before the first speaker engages us, we would want to establish one protocol. Obviously, there would be a question and answer period. There would be some concerns from each of you. We would wish that you would hold your questions until the end of the final panelists, and at that point we would engage any question that you would have. So in the interest of time, we're going to begin immediately with an overview of crime from the officer in charge of the Northeastern Division, Superintendent Maycock.
Good night, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Nathan Butler. I'd like to say a special thanks to Reverend Dr. Ivan Butler for allowing us to be inside this place tonight as we come here to share an overview of crime in the Northeastern Division. We're here to partnership with you. We're here to share our concerns. We would like to hear your concerns. We want to give out some safety tips to guide you throughout the year as we progress in this year, 2023. At first, I would like for you to get to know your commander. My name is Ezra Maycock. I have 33 years service in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Over that 33, I spent like 25 years in Central Detective Unit, CID. Working address, Mobile Division, East Street South, Kwaku Street, Central, and Wolf Road Police Station, where I'm at this time as the officer in charge. My number, I can display it, is 4770233. In the event that you have an issue and you can't get through on the direct line, which is 394-4540 or 1. And my deputy, who is second in charge, who's present, she's Superintendent Deborah Thompson. Ladies, right here. Her number is also displayed. You can take note of that. We have Reserve Superintendent Matthew Davis. He's in charge of the reserves at Wolf Road Police Station and the Marathon Mall. We have my two ASPs, ASP Achara James and ASP Ricardo Hanna. Under our remit, we have 4 inspectors. Inspector Jewel Taylor, who's in charge for administration, he's not here at this time. Inspector Ronaldo Roxbury, he's in charge of operation and inquiries. Inspector Marcian Murray, who's in charge of inquiries. And you have Woman Inspector Grania Dawkins. She's in charge of the station at Marathon Mall. Our division is one of the largest divisions in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The northeastern boundary, we'll say northeastern, which is Wolf Road Police Station. Our boundary starts from Wolf Road Police Station. You head west on the Wolf Road. When you reach far as Ministries, you take a left, head towards Robinson Road. When you reach Robinson Road, you go way down as far as Sac, St. Augustine's College. You turn through there. Once you go through there, you come back on Bernard Road. From Bernard Road, you come back down as far as Village Road roundabout. You take that, go as far as Montague Red Light. When you go there, you go way down as far as Fowler Street on Shirley Street. Cut through and come back to Collins Avenue. When you reach Collins Avenue, come back to Wolf Road and back to the Wolf Road station. So you see how big our boundary is. And we have a number of communities within our boundary which we have to pay special attention to. My division is one of the largest, which has a number of business establishments, small and large. It's made up of the shopping centers in Palmdale, around Palmdale, the Marathon Mall. We have a lot of banks, liquor stores, nightclubs, churches, also senior and junior primary school, private and government. Inclusive of these business establishments, we have areas such as Kemp Road to focus on, the Culmusville area, Darnottage Estate, Shirley Heights, Twynham Subdivision, Union Village, Pinedale, Ministries, Marathon Estate, Regency Park, Arnstown, Centerville, etc., as mentioned in our beat. Some of our challenges in the Northeastern Division, what we have noticed as recently, are business owners. Business owners, they need to be compliant. We notice a number of matters where business owners leaving large amount of sums in their establishment. And once the suspects get rid of this, we had a number of break-ins and their money was gone. Rather than securing the money inside the bank, they leave it in the establishment and they lost, out a big loss. So we encourage members of the public, business owners, to make your deposit. Feel free, if you don't have a deposit company, to call the commando and ask if you could be assisted, and we will assist you with taking your funds to the bank. If you don't want you to risk yourself, go in or send an employee who could be targeted and robbed, possibly harmed. So these are some of the tips we want to let you know. Your business establishment, I'd like for you all to ensure that the camera system is up and running. This is a tool that helps us solve a number of matters. Once we have this footage, we could go right back to them, and it reaps dividends at the end of the day. We'd like for you to continue to keep your property safe by proper lighting around your business establishment, keeping your hedges clear, so the police could see exactly what's going on around your business establishment. I've noticed some of the business establishment as of lately, it's just growing with these graphic signs on the windows. These signs is obstructing the police view and members of the public. If something is going on in their establishment, it's hard for the police on patrol to see what's going on. So that's something I think you need to look at and make it easier for us to see exactly what's going on, so we could be right there to assist where possible. When hiring persons, they need to be properly vetted. We notice that a lot of persons in these business establishments are being setting up matters, armed robberies, and I will not go further onto that. I'll let ASP Lavardi in his presentation speak to that. But these are some of the trends. Also making deposits, and they're being targeted. And a lot of gunshots report in the community. We beg your assistance. Over and repeatedly, we hear a gunshot report in this area, a number of rounds. Once you reach the location, we found spent cases and everything. But we need the members of the public to tell us something. That's why we're here tonight, to partnership with you all. We want to be your friend. Call us, give us the information. You don't need to call your name or say who you are. There's a crime tips line, 328-TIPS. You could call TIPS, that number will be answered, no name, and you could pass the information, and sure, we'll check the information out. Some of the other crime against persons are such as threats of death, threats of harm, assault and causing harm as being on the rise. but through the assistance of members of the public, we was able to solve a number of these matters and arrest these persons and bring them to justice. Our crimes against property, shop breaking, stealing from vehicles. You know these bumpers of these Japanese vehicles, the batteries, they were some of the matters that seem to stem lately, and the offenders of these persons driving these vehicles. So once you see something suspicious in the area, you know one car park here, don't supposed to be here, that's not the neighborhood or nothing, you call the police. Give us the information, we can check on that. We have a number of vehicles that were stolen as it relates to these Japanese vehicles. Ferocious dog attack has been on the rise in the division. If you own a pet, let's ensure that you have your pet license and properly secured in your property. Your residence must be fencing and secured so that the dog cannot get out and attack persons. We have seen this in a rise as of lately, so we ask your assistance to assist us with that, please. House breaking, let's make it hard for the offender. Let's secure your house properly before you leave and be a neighbor's keeper. Each one look out for one another. Based on the crime trends we saw in the area, to strategize and eradicate crime, we were doing a lot of walkabout, educating members of the public, and through media and speaking engagement. We have a 24-hour saturated patrol, also special operations going on. We have neighborhood walkabout and business checks, aggressive stop and search, road checks, executing search warrants for wanted suspects, targeting prolific offenders, drug spots, visiting schools and parks, and speaking with youth at risk. We're reaching out to these persons, these young kids, before they get in the hands of the wrong persons. These could be our kids, our neighborhood kids. Let's keep them safe. They are the future for tomorrow. And so we thank you for partnering with the police, which of course a lot of our matters to be of solvency and success. And tonight, at the end of this symposium, we'll have questions and answers, so if you have any, feel free to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Maycock. I think we would switch a bit from the police side and ask for an overview from the Bahamas Public Beaches and Park Public Authority, and then we would come back to the police. And so the representative from the parks. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here with you, and I bring greetings on behalf of the authority. My presentation tonight is to inform you of the Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority's involvement by being a team player with the police. Kindly allow me to inform you on the role of the authority. The Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority's role is to manage, maintain the parks, beaches, sidewalks, road verges, and medians. The department, which is permits and compliance, plays a significant role in the authority by ensuring that all of our customers are fully compliant. With this in mind, the authority issues permits to qualified individuals who may wish to be a vendor. In order to conduct a business with us, the following documents are required: a valid police approval certificate for the sale of goods, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, and music, a government valid ID. If you do not have a passport or a driver's license, you can use a voter's card. A food handler certificate, which is good for 1 year and it's renewable. An environmental health certificate that is good for 1 year and renewable. The Ministry of Agriculture approved letter for the sale of fruits if you want to be a fruit and vegetable vendor. A business license is required. That has been one of the main focus for us now. Anyone who wants to conduct business must produce a business license. Now we have a new document that is coming on board, which is known as commercial driver's license, and that is for those persons who have a hot dog cart or a part of a mobile truck for truck food that you have to tow. You would now have to produce this driver's license to us. The same thing applies for those persons who want to have an event, like you want to have a bear fest or a fundraising that is paid, that you need to raise funds for yourself or for a sick person. A medical, if you're having a medical or if there was a fire, these fundraisers are free. The churches who normally have outreach services and program, this is free of charge, but you still need to produce those required documents. They say prevention is better than cure. Therefore, to ensure that the customers in their prospective locations, they so desired, we need to, the authority, one of the authorities, how should I say, duty is to ensure that the areas are safe. Therefore, we have our inspector who goes out and look at the location that you may be so desirous of conducting a business, and they would report back to the department for that area to let us know or inform us that the area is safe, there is clarity, visibility from all angles, there is no abandoned buildings or vehicles around. And in some cases, when our vendors are approved and they go to the police to get their approval certificate, there were times when the police would say, well, we don't desire this area for that person or organization who want to have an event to be there because it's not suitable for business or an event. In this case of Walkathon's morning sunrise worship, one thing I can safely say is that our police really comes out and assists and to ensure that, you know, we have ladies who do running more than men, sorry to say, and you have the morning sunrise worshipers. They are out there to ensure that no vagrants is there to harm them. And as I said in one of my presentation, the Cable Beach Police Station and the Western Esplanade, they do a tremendous job in securing safety in those areas. Now, with the risk of children being missing, this is something we are now putting into our terms and agreement that a person, not actually a person, but mothers are to ensure that their children are at their side at all times. If for some reason the authority is informed that a child or 3 children is left unattended because the mother has to go to the shop or have to make a run, and she doesn't leave a responsible person to look at those children, we then go to them. We will have to probably just take her permit from her for about maybe a week or so. We don't want to take it from her indefinitely because that is her livelihood. And in this case, we would inform social services and the police, especially if she needs help with someone, to ensure that her and her children are safe. Then there's another thing with billboards. We are getting deep into persons putting up billboards illegally without coming to the authority to obtain permission, what we do is that we send our inspectors out and we take them down. If we do have problems with one or two persons, we have a police that is attached to us. We would call them and ask them to come and assist with having those billboards removed. We do have a serious problem, and we will be calling on the police heavily because this is a serious problem. Every night you wake up, you go to bed, someone is putting up a huge billboard, and when you wake up in the morning, you're like, where did this come from? We have a lot of things that goes on in the night that we are not aware of, and we are also asking you, the community, if you see anything going up, to please inform the authority or inform the police. We cannot do it all by ourselves. We need the assistance from everyone. Now, you may ask, how do we become a vendor? Like I said earlier, you can come in to us, our office. We have relocated. We are now in the industrial park west of Gladstone Road. The second building on the left-hand side, you'll see the big sign up that says Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority. We have 3 persons in the Permits and Compliance Department. When you come in, you have an application form to fill out, and we will do our endeavor best to assist you. But all we ask is that you do bring in the required documents. Make sure that the area that you want to conduct your business is safe, even though we will do our background checks. The police record is very, very important to us. You have to produce that police record. On a couple occasions, we had persons wanting to vend, and when we saw their record, we had to think twice. So this is another way that we try to prevent persons from going into another area where persons may have been there for years and years and nothing happened. Then all of a sudden someone comes in, then stealing start or child molestation start, and it never happened before. So this is also one of the way we prevent crimes from happening, especially with our vendors when they have elderly on the side of them or whether they have children with them. We take this very, very serious. I trust that my little presentation was really helpful to you and that you would consider vending with us, but let us all do our part in reducing crime. Thank you. My name is Calpurnia Spence. I'm from the Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority, and I head the Permits and Compliance Department. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your well-prepared presentation, and I have no doubt that there will be many questions at the end of this, but we're going to move as quickly as we can. And I think we have an interest in hearing now from the stolen vehicles section. We all know the fact that the New Providence is 7 by 21, and this question of where does these cars go? And armed robberies there. Okay. And so in lieu of that, we're going to swing back to the armed robbery section. And obviously there's a lot of questions and concerns about armed robberies in this small island also. And so we have the officer in charge of that area who would speak to it. And so at this point, we welcome Mr. Lavardi.
Good night to everybody. As indicated earlier, my name is Antonio Lavardi, Assistant Superintendent of Police, the officer in charge of the armed robbery section. Armed robbery is an offense that plagues everyone. And as I look around the room, I see young, younger, and the youngest. I won't even venture into saying old, because I ain't getting in no trouble. But that's not a CID crime. That's not a Wolf Road Police Station crime. That's not a Kemp Road crime. That's a crime that can affect everybody. Quickly, let me see the hands of those who may have been directly or indirectly affected about an armed robbery or reference an armed robbery. I see the sergeant in the back put his hands up fast. Anyone else? Not the police. Well, you all share the same story that I about to share. As a young boy, I grew up selling fruits, packing bags, and selling newspaper. And in all those jobs that I had as a young boy, I got robbed. And up to the day I can remember those events. A firearm in someone's face is something that can plague you for a lifetime. The money, you can get that back. But that traumatizing event is very, very, very traumatizing. And sometimes it may never leave you. So my presentation on armed robbery is one that is timely and one that is needed. Next slide, please. So I have 4 goals, and I'm going to go through them quickly, that I need to accomplish tonight. The first, to develop your curiosity. The second, to enhance your perception. The third, to educate you on personal safety, on what to do before, during, and after an armed robbery. And the last, to help to prevent. Next slide, please. Life is 10% what happens to you, and 90% how you react to it. Anyone disagree with that? The gentleman in the back. You holding up your hand or you disagree? You disagree. Go back to that slide, sir. That's a powerful statement, because that is simply saying to you, things will happen to you. As a police officer, she said she got robbed. As a police officer, I got robbed. A lady who was praying, she got robbed. An old lady, an elderly lady who was in a house, she got robbed. These things will happen to you. But how you react is going to make the difference. And that's life. Next slide. So we're going to dive right into it. Number 1, during an armed robbery, try to remain calm and do not be a hero. You're going to see me mention that throughout the slide, because that's the first thing. Try to remain calm. Now, everybody have their own way in remaining calm. Some may laugh, some may pray, some may comply, some may not. But you must try to remain calm. I want you to believe that the fellow with the firearm pointed at in your face is just as afraid, or he's even more afraid than you. You believe that? Why? Because he has so many other things he needs to worry about. The only thing I need to worry about is not getting shot and handing over the money. He needs to worry about getting the money, how much money I can get, how I can get out of here, and I don't get captured. So he's worrying about all of that. So you have to remain calm. Follow directions given by the robber. That is very important. Why I say follow the directions? If the robber tells you to lay flat, stay still, just do that. Comply. We had an armed robbery matter where the gunman came up to a lady, Christian lady, and she approached him and started to say she's going to pray for him. While the Lord is very important and He will save you, at times certain actions can create an issue. If He say lay on the ground, just comply. Let's go to the next slide, and you will see that I have to go a bit in the interest of time. The lady in the black, ma'am, the picture up there, what is that picture saying to you? It's Superman? That's what it's saying? He's a hero. So, in the black and white shirt, what does that picture say to you? You don't know? It doesn't say anything? He ready to fight crime. Okay, that's Superman. That is simply saying, do not try to be like Superman. Yes, he's handsome. See, she's smiling. But if anyone followed the trilogy of Superman, the last Superman, he died. And that's in Hollywood. So if you try to be a hero and Superman died in Hollywood, it's a possibility some things could happen to you. Next slide. This one should be a bit easier. The next lady in the black. I like picking people in black. What is that saying to you, ma'am? What does that say? Suggest to you? Pardon me? That you have a whole lot of money. So you won't see the baby there. Anyone else will take a bite of it? Yes, ma'am? Kidnap the child and looking for ransom. Okay. That picture is simply saying the money could be replaced, but the life can't. They could take that briefcase of money, and next week you may be able to get one bigger than that. But that child, when that child's life is finished, that's gone. Now you may be smart and say, I can make another child. Yes, you may. But you may not be able to make that same child. And all of this is about being smart. Next slide. Pardon me? Okay. What to do after an armed robbery? Decide who will call the police. Secure the doors. That might sound like, that's automatic. No, it's not. And I'm speaking about live incidents where persons assume that someone may have called the police. But because they were so traumatized, no one called the police. And we know, once you call the police will be there immediately. Hold on now, why are you all laughing now? The police is going to be there immediately. Well, the only way you'll know if you call. Take notes of persons there. Get names, get contact. While we note that an armed robbery happened, the police and the public and the business owner has to work together. We need the information because that helps us. Once I reach there, I'm asking for information because I was in there. The more information that you can gather, the more the investigation will go in a positive direction. Contact your tech, meaning that your cameraman. I know a lot of persons, they have cameras, but they don't know how to work them. So, if it happens, and God forbid it doesn't happen to anyone in here, the tech person is on standby. Those are tools that can assist us. Don't touch anything until the police arrives. Don't touch anything until the police arrives. Before I make this comment, I need to scan the room because I don't want to get in trouble. Anyone ever went to an armed robbery where the Chinese store was robbed? Well, I've been several times, and Chinese don't close their place down. So when you walk into the Chinese place, you trying to figure out if that was the place that was robbed. Because they are not closing down. But you cannot operate like that. Because that is a tool that we're coming to dust, and we need that assistance. Because we want to now catch that robber. But the Chinese, they ain't closing. They operate in business as usual. Don't allow anyone on the scene who's not there during the incident. And we know, Bahamians are nosy. They come in. They come in and they don't want to leave there giving you no information. They just want to be nosy. But what that does, that contaminates the scene. It makes it harder for us. Next slide. Write down immediate details, all details of the robbers, if possible. And why it's important to write? Because sometimes our memory can fail us, especially when we traumatize. A fella could walk in here now and rob and all us in here, and we ask each person, their version is going to be different. But I think it's a saying that says the pen is mightier than something of that sort. So, write. Very important. Keep a journal. At the end of the day, talk with family members. Going back to, like I was saying, these are traumatizing events. And some people may not want to speak about it because it may cause you to relive it. But if it applies to you that you can have a conversation with a family member, that can cause you to now bring your composure back down to level ground. Try to revisit the scene, meaning memory-wise, because what you didn't remember at that time, maybe 2 hours or a day later, you may remember, because at that time you're shaking up. And then you say, oh yeah, I remember the fellow walk with a limp. You didn't remember that at the time when the police was there, but now you remember it. The next slide, please. All right, we're going to a very important part of the slide. Ma'am, in the front, you know what that is? Yes, ma'am. Cameras, right? You think that's an important tool? Very important. Anyone else think that's important? Very important. But what is more important than a camera? I don't want no police say it. A working camera. Right? Very important. Working camera. And the officer in charge of Wolf Road alluded to it, Mr. Maycock. The cameras needs to be working. It makes no sense you have thousands of dollars flowing from your business, and when we come, the camera pointing right over the register where the fellow was, and then you say, all right, let's go look at it. And he says, they need there for formality. Absolutely no sense. It makes it more difficult for us. So we need the cameras. And let me tell you another important thing about camera. A camera causes you to be able to sit down and view something that you may not have seen then 100 times. I would prefer, in my opinion, the evidence of cameras sometimes over human. Because what they see then, they might continue to say they see, but never add on to that. But if I have that camera footage, every time I look at that, I guarantee you I'm going to see something different. I'm positive. So very important tool. Next slide, please. Okay, some business tips. Don't obscure windows. Don't put these fancy things on your windows where at the end of the day, the robbers could see inside, but you can't see outside. Because the fellow stand right on the side of your door because he know you can't see him, put on his mask, load up his gun, and walk right in there and rob you. So don't do that. Proper vetting of employee. Mr. Maycock spoke about that. Again, a lot of people don't like to hear that because it's called that stereotyping. But let me tell you why it ain't stereotyping. It's proper vetting, because if you hire a female and the last 5 places she used to work, she got mixed up because her hands were sticky, that should make a suggestion to you. You may not want to hire her, or you may hire her, but you know what you want to do? You want to put in there the money. And the only way you'll know that, through proper vetting, right? Proper vetting, it's not stereotyping, it's vetting properly. Because you remember, you want to protect your business also. Allow security officers to perform their duties. Very important. During the COVID, anyone ever went to, in particular, the Scotia Bank downtown? Anyone went there? Like when COVID was phasing out. They had the security officers there doing every single thing except protecting the door. I went there, he offered me coffee, he got the sugar, he helped me fill out the form, he walked me to the bathroom, he do all them things except mind the door. So when you are hiring a security officer, he needs to do just what he's being paid to do, secure. It ain't the word. Security. Very important. Take photos of cash prior to bank deposit. That's a tool to help us in our investigation. Have arrangement with armored services. Another important tool. Dealt with a lady. I had just did a presentation on armed robbery. We offered armored service. We said to her, and true story, she said, my business right there, man, it ain't far. And I kid you not, 2 days later, that lady was robbed of $123,000. All because she thought, because she could have jumped right in her vehicle and drive right to the bank, which was very close for true. 2 to 3 minutes. But someone was watching her. And that's the quickest I see someone ever get paid $123,000. All because you didn't want to get an armored service. What it's going to cost? Absolutely almost nothing. So very important. Let's go to the next slide. Continuing on with business tips. Create an opening and closing procedures to train your employees of these procedures. Very important. Where possible, have 2 or more employees present during opening and closing, meaning that when you come into work or you leaving, try to do that in numbers. I know, and I can pick on females because they don't like to give the boss or the government 1 minute over the time they're supposed to be there. Meaning that if they're supposed to get off 5 o'clock, see the lady in the black laughing. She like do that. I can say that, that's my wife. 5 o'clock, she off. 5 o'clock, she walking out the door. But the next person getting off 5:05. What you do when you decide that you're going to walk to the car yourself, you make yourself a target. I'm not saying that if 3 persons walk into the car, they're not going to get robbed. But a robber is going to take his chances with 1 versus 3. So we have to do these things in numbers. Discourage handling large amount of cash in public view. Mr. Maycock spoke about that. Just like how the police sits down and strategize, the criminal does that. He's going to look at your business place, the next person's business place, go in there and looks at various options. The chances of me robbing this place and getting 100,000, and robbing this place would only have 100, he gain left. I gain left, but I ain't no criminal now. But these are the things you got to be conscious about. You might not think it matters, but it matters. Don't block the line of sight of your cash area. Always have that in view, that you are able to see your cash area. Very, very important. Next slide. Display signs which states only limited amount of cash. Now you playing with the mind of criminals now. Step up cash register. That's where persons cannot see inside, down in your register. Notice the Chinese, that's the one thing they do. One thing they do, when they see hundreds and 50s flowing, they get moved. So when you rob them, you can get the dollars and the 5s, but you ain't get them hundreds and 50s. Park near entry to activate car alarm to draw attention, if necessary. Display a sign with the police as a business representative. If a fella knows that a business place is plastered with different things with the police, he can say that one is a snitch. I ain't fooling with that business, because that business place have the police on speed dial. Because if he have this relationship where he could have these amount of flyers, I ain't gonna fool with him. And these things plays in their mind. And these things that we've tested. We spoke to persons who've been consistently robbing, and they say these things. How do you choose your target? This is how I choose my target. I am my brother's keeper. Put signs there. Like, you always have someone watching. Next slide. 4 pictures. The one to my far left what I was talking about, putting these signs that you cannot see. In the middle to the top. 3 fellas walk in your place like that. That's an absolute no-no, right? Automatically you should start paying attention. Or, by law, you have the right to deny entry. That's law. So they can't say, there's a public place. I know my rights. Most of the people who say I know my rights just never know it. Never. So, that is a no-no. The next one is a no-no. Now, COVID permitted some things to happen. You have your mask, you have your little time, but you still at the end of the day have to be vigilant. Now things relax. So you automatically know you don't want to let persons in your business place looking like that. The bottom is what I was talking about, the machines that you can look down into. Next slide. Now we're going into personal safety, almost to the end. It makes no sense that you are able to secure Island Luck money, Rupert Roberts money, the gas station money, and you are not able to secure yourself. So we go into personal safety, and you see number 1 again, try to remain calm. Very important. Number 2, if you suspect you're being followed, 3 left, 3 right, a circle. Now, if you suspect you're being followed and you're traveling south on Blue Hill Road, Blue Hill Road, we know you can't turn off, but the fella traveling south just going straight ahead, you think he's following you, he might be going that way too. So you have to turn through a corner, then come back on Blue Hill Road or do some little turns, but you cannot stay on a straight road and believe you're being followed, because that person actually could be going on a straight road too. Make sense? Blow your car horn to draw attention to yourself. Very important. You know, robber want to rob with a car, just being very, very, very loud. I did a presentation a few months ago. The fella said, Mr. Riley, I use the same strategy. I say, why you use it? I use it to make sure I never catch my wife cheating. I say, what you mean? Say, whenever I reach home, I blow the horn loud, so the fella could leave. That's what the fella said. I mean, that's a strategy. But I say, yes, but you can use that to prevent from being robbed. But, I mean, it is a good strategy, because what you don't know, I guess, won't hurt. Call 919. And that's while you believe you are being followed. Do not wait until the persons have you at a complete stop, then you're trying to get your phone. If you suspect you're being followed, get on the phone. In the event that they suddenly cause you to stop, at least you start to communicate, or if the phone drops, the police may be able to hear you. And we could be listening. Trust me. You know, Annie, you looking at me, we don't be eating donuts. We be listening. We could be listening. So, very important. Drive to the nearest police station, if possible. Now, sometimes the police station may not be in distance for you to get there. So, you may not want to try to force yourself to get there, but you may want to drive to an area where persons may be, or a lot of light. Don't try to force it. Next slide. Okay, when you're approaching home, how much of you all know the type of vehicle that your neighbor does drive? Left, right, front and back. How much of y'all? Let me see you show your hands. Honestly. How much don't know? Oh, we in church and you're lying. But that's good. That's good. That's very important. You have to know your neighbors, what they driving, who has come to them, because if you're not aware of that, the fella could park right in the neighbor yard and wait on you. But you know what we do sometimes? Because I have a problem with left and right, which is my neighbors, I ain't worrying about what's going on left and right. So therefore, I don't know what they're driving. I don't know who's come out the house. So you will not know who come to rob you. And when you don't pay attention to your neighbors and they get robbed, It's only a matter of time before who next? You next. So it makes no sense. Call ahead. Let someone know you're on your way. How much people is do that? I ain't see much chance this long. You ain't got no minute to. Very important. Call ahead. Exit vehicle as swiftly as possible. I guarantee you, a lot of you all guilty and not doing that. How much you all is do that? Pull up right in your yard and speed straight out the car. Only you one? Very important again. We cannot. We used to pulling up, staying to catch ourselves in the car, being on the phone, talking, getting the grocery bags at our own pace. You know what that does? That creates an opportunity for the fella to get ready to rob you. A trend that's going on right now, a lot of persons, when they pull up to their residence, they're getting robbed. That is on the rise in armed robberies. So very important. Prior to going home, organize everything. When I say organize, organize. Some people in their vehicle has things all about what they know they want to take inside. But before you go there, organize that so it can be as swiftly as possible. Do you agree? Next slide. Out on the boat. Don't just walk to your vehicles. Be aware of your surroundings. I'm positive all of us guilty, even myself at times, of walking to my vehicle and I on the phone, talking to my wife. I had a good day. And the fella right behind me, I see him or no. And he walked right, and then after I come off the phone, he say, let me have the phone. They robbed me just to that, because I'm not vigilant on the phone. Avoid ATMs in isolated places. And real life situation. A lady decide that she wants to go to the ATM machine at 2 a.m. in the morning for $20 because she needed to purchase something at 9 a.m. the following morning. Makes absolutely no sense. You're going to make yourself a target. If it is that important that you need that $20, then you could go to the gas station ATM machine. But why go to, but I know why she gone to the ATM and not the gas station, because she want to save 95 cents. That's what she want to do. But you see, 95 cents cost her a vehicle and some more money. So very important. Don't carry handbag if you don't have to. Do not carry handbag. We know the normal thing for women is nice Gucci bag or whatever, nice hair done, and they heel and they stepping up. And 90% of the time, no money in the bag. So you get robbed of hair, but you make yourself a target because the fella is automatically gonna go for the person with the handbag because he believes money in there. All of these things you have to be aware of. Park close as possible the business entrance. If you come to do an ATM drop-off, try to see if you could get as close to that machine as possible. Because the distance from the machine, if you park way down there, you're creating opportunity. You are creating opportunity. A few years back, we had that happening. RBC, Prince Charles, Commonwealth Bank, Golden Gates, where fellas just was waiting by the ATM machine, and as soon as you come out, they stick you up. Easy get rich scheme. But you could avoid that by doing these things. Don't have your back turned while searching for items. Always be vigilant. Next slide. All right, now we recapping. We can see if anyone was listening. They wasn't sleeping. Mom, in the jeans jacket. What to do when you approach home? Go on. You want, don't let. That's right. That's right. So you get 1 point. So, what do you do if you suspect you're being followed? That's right. You want the ball. Lady in the green. what do you do before closing your business? All right, you're on the ball. What do you do during an armed robbery? The lady in the white? Yes, ma'am. What do you do during an armed robbery? That's right, lay flat. That's possible. All right, you get that. What do you do after an armed robbery? Anyone? Just shout it out. That's right, I like that answer. Call the police. And I'll add some more to that. No. You say 2 hours later, no, you're going left. We come in immediately. Immediately. Let's go to the next slide. There are some numbers that you can contact the police. Let's go to the next slide. And which is the last slide. Your positive action combined with positive thinking results in success. The gentleman to the back, you agree with this one, sir? Mr. Ferguson? You agree with this one? Your positive action combined with positive thinking results in success. All right, I get him this lap. So that is the end of my presentation. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Lavarity. Your presentation has given us a sense of comfort. And then we would switch from crime, and we're going to invite Mr. McKinsey from the Urban Renewal to give us an overview. Mr. McKinsey.
Good night, everybody. Like they say, your gift will always make room for you. It is indeed a pleasure to see you all. My name is Peggy McKinsey. I'm the Center Manager for Freetown Urban Renewal, which is located on St. James Road. I grew up in Kemp Road, on St. James Road, then moved over to Firepower Lot, then moved over to Market Street. It's all still in the Freetown community. So when you say Freetown, Freetown is just not Kemp Road, okay? My task is to make the scene in the area that which need, and that what they need is you. Through the Urban Renewal 2.0, those most in need will have ready access to basic integrity, service along with improved conditions and environment, therefore ensuring a better quality of life for all Bahamians. The mission of our great place is to continually take action to revitalize, to transform the inner city communities of the Bahamas by developing and improving and rehabilitating physical and social evidence, enhancing and improving the safety and security of our great nation. Measures and alertness are mandate is true development and transformational strategies and programs. Urban Renewal 2.0 will improve the quality of life by saying that we also do quality of life by assisting in roof repair. Assisting in roof repair, meaning that if you would like your roof to be repaired, you can come over to our center, pick up an application. The documents that is needed to fix the roof is a photo ID, which is a passport, the deeds that comes along with the property, and also a letter that goes to say that you own the property. We also cater to our seniors, the young adults, and also our children. At Urban Renewal, we have our grocery giveaways where we have assistance from Delvinas, the Red Cross, Bahamas Feed Network, and local entities within our community to help us get the community where it needs to be. We also distribute school supplies to schools such as Uriah McPhee, for example. and getting the kids them where we need to go. We also do our end of year back to school drive giveaways. With urban renewal, we tend to go above and beyond the call of duty, meaning that the center where we are is not just for our staff. We open up from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are there to help the brokenhearted, those who are in dire need when it comes into clothing, when it comes into, again, grocery distribution, when it comes into any form of assistance, when it comes to lending a hand to social service, but getting you back on your feet as mothers or fathers, just to bring the community to the level to where it needs to be. In our center, we also have a police officer, which is Sergeant 811 Penniman Knowles, and she's there from Monday to Friday, every day. If you have any needs with it, community-minded needs, you can come to the center and we can find the best way that we can assist you. Urban renewal is placed within the community to take the community to a whole new level by just doing what we are called to do. Our vision for urban renewal is those most in need that will always have ready access to basic integrity service, along with improved conditions and environment, thereby ensuring the better quality of life for Bahamians. Our mission is to continually take the action to revitalize and transform the minds and the hearts of the people within the Freetown community. Our mandate is to develop and transform strategies just to help the community get to the level where it needs to be. Amen.
Following the already established protocol, pleasant good night to all. My government name is Nathaniel Gilbert, Assistant Superintendent of Police Officer in charge of the Stolen Vehicle Section at the Criminal Investigations Department. As we begin this presentation, click to the slide. Our objectives for tonight will be to identify vehicle crimes, reasons vehicles are stolen, preventative measures, and most vulnerable vehicles. Move to the next slide, please. What you should know. These are the main reasons vehicles are stolen. As Superintendent Maycock alluded at the beginning of his presentation, parts for uncommon vehicles, parts that are expensive, personal use and gain. Could anyone tell me what we mean by personal use and gain? That's just basically what it means. You work hard for your vehicle, someone chooses not to work and decide to come and take your vehicle. And the commission of a crime. Unfortunately, this happens a lot. You know, two things have to take place when a crime is committed. The criminal element has to arrive, and at the end of the crime, the criminal element has to make good their escape. Next slide, this slide. All hands of persons who have Japanese-type vehicles. I can put my hand up too. Okay, I can put my hand up too. These vehicles are the most targeted vehicles. Reason being, point number one, let's get straight to the point. No longer you need $15,000 to buy a vehicle. That's just the bottom line. 10, 15 years ago, you needed about $15,000, $20,000 to secure a vehicle. But nowadays, we could get it in a small amount of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. The only downfall to these vehicles, these Japanese vehicles, are their poor security measures. That's just the bottom line. They're not like American-made cars, and they have poor, very, very poor security measures. Okay? Next slide. Now we could go straight into preventative measures. Okay? First one, notify the police. When you see suspicious persons, vehicles, or activities in your area. The reason why we want you to notify the police. In the police divisions, let me use Northeastern, for example, the police division runs 24 hours a day. So if you notify the police of suspicious activities, when that morning shift is completing their shift at 4 o'clock, there's a briefing held. That information is going to be passed on to the 4 o'clock shift, and vice versa is going to continue on to the midnight shift. So that information, even though a crime may not happen at that time, that information that you're passing on is going to be extremely vital, and it's going to remain with the patrolling units. Know who your neighbors are. Well, I can go on 10 ice on this one. Lavardi, I can go towards your wife. Now, we know this is what Bahamian women like to do best. What Bahamian women like to do best? Being nosy. That's just the bottom line. Being nosy. Okay? We know how it is when you're on the phone with your sister and the new neighbor moving in, and you're able to see the furnitures, everything that's coming out the car. Yeah, this is the time to be nosy. So we could obtain all that information. Okay? This is the only time to be nosy now. This is the only time to be nosy. This number one, the picture on the right, that's our number one intelligence officer. The police force number one intelligence officer. Run mother sitting on the porch in the rocking chair. She has all the information for us. All the information, which is a good thing. As ASP Lavardi stated earlier, neighbors, you must know your neighbors' vehicle, plate number. I have a black book. Everyone that moves into my neighborhood, I make proper documentation of their vehicle, their plate numbers. It's for a reason. You got to know who your neighbors are. You got to know who's moving through your neighborhood. Next slide. Now, this is a big problem I have. We spend all this money for cars. All this money. Save up in ASU, go to the bank, get a loan. But we fail to protect our interests. That's a big, big problem. We fail to protect our interests. Okay? I have 3 vehicles, or 3 of them are equipped with car alarm, steering wheel lock, and GPS tracking. And when I park it in the night, I park it under lighting and where my cameras can view the car. You've got to protect your investment. I don't have no money to waste. I don't know if you guys have money to waste, but I do not have no money to waste. Do not leave keys in the car running. You all believe this is a big problem in Nassau? Yeah, everyone wants to stop to the food store. I had a gentleman before, this one lost me. He stopped at a bar, left the key in the car running, and came out 20 minutes later. You know, I might have bared with him if he'd have said 3 minutes, but 20 minutes later, after having a drink, leaving the key in the car, and he expected his car to still be there. So he just probably wanted to give someone a car, you know. Don't leave keys in the vehicle, under the mat, trays, glove box. We think this happens a lot inside Nassau. This happens a lot. Everyone wants to go, I could tell you the points. Everyone wants to go to Goodman's Bay or Aaron Bailey Park, leave the key under the mat, saying they're going to exercise him, go into the gym, and expect to meet their vehicle when they return. That has me 100% confused. Like they didn't work hard to obtain the funds to get these vehicles. Next slide. What you should know, all answer persons who own a vehicle inside here. That blue certificate of title, that is so important. That is that same government document, that is so important. That document should be photocopied along with the insurance of the vehicle and left inside the car. The original should not be left inside that car. Okay? Any problem, reference to a police officer in relation to that, contact me at 502-9938 and I'll explain to them why that document should not be left inside the car. And as we move on, you will understand. Parking in well-lit areas, staying away from bushy areas, and you see how everything is tying in. Everything ties in with all facets of crime at CID. We do not work in isolation. Myself, along with ASP Lavarity, we work in concert daily because everything is tied in reference to the criminal element. Okay? Now this part, oh boy. Please, who have Facebook accounts out there? Facebook, Marketplace, things for sale. I never been on those sites, so that's why I got to ask. Please stay from off those sites. Please. Please. Everyone wants to advertise vehicles, jewelry, all these items on this site. Now, yeah, but you could detect whether it is legit, you know. When it's time for that sales transaction, say, meet me at Wolf Road Station. I guarantee you wouldn't say from that person again on that site no more. Just tell them, meet me to the station to complete that transaction. Okay? And I'll show you, I'll explain two scenarios. Next slide. This is an eye-opener. This vehicle was stolen approximately maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. This vehicle was stolen from a young lady. And by the time we caught up with the vehicle, the photo on the right, all the identification numbers and everything inside the car was already changed. As quick as that. As quick as that. Crafty, but not crafty enough. Next slide. Now, to prevent all of this, you know, anything with government, you got to put something in the kitty, right? We know that. You got to put something in the government kitty. So at the Criminal Investigation Department, we offer a chassis check service. And that service is offered to safeguard you as the members of the public before you exchange and give someone $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for a vehicle. There was a chop no later than Monday. And watch the scenario. There was a guy who came in from Freeport. He rented a car. You know, rental car business is the biggest thing in this island right now, rental car business. He rented a car. The lady who rented the car, who owns the business, she left all the documents inside the car. The blue title paper, everything. What do you think that chap from Freeport did? He signed that paper and he sold the car. He signed that paper and he sold the car. That's one aspect. The next aspect is from the individual that bought the car. So he ended up buying a stolen vehicle. So when all of that was found out, the vehicle was taken from him and had to give back to the original owner. And he was owed $4,600 because he failed to come and spend $50 with us on the same marketplace website. That's where that occurred. Advertising the sale of the vehicle. So it's best you come and spend that little small amount of $50 to put inside the government treasury, have the professionals look at the car, identify whether it is stolen or not, and before those funds are exchanged. And all of that can be done right inside the foyer, inside CID. Isn't that the safest place to do a transaction? I believe so. Okay? Now, as I conclude, I just want you to listen and focus on these words. Watch how all this ties in. Anyone in here knows about the crime triangle? No one? Okay. Triangle is basically like this, right? 3 sides. On top of the crime triangle is the target. What would be known as the target? Can anyone explain that to me? Who is the target? The target is the law-abiding citizens. Okay? On the left of the crime triangle is the willing participants. Who will be known as the willing participants in the crime triangle? The criminal element. On the right of the crime triangle is the opportunity. Now, what is being presented here tonight is crime preventative measures to eliminate the opportunity so the willing participants won't make you a target. Let it soak in. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. We've reached a point where all of us can participate and we would interact with one another with our most pressing and our most serious concerns. I'm not certain what the format is in terms of the questions, but I would take the liberty to ask the very first question, and I suspect we would pass the microphone around to other persons who would wish to participate. But my first question would go to Ms. Spence. I know you're from the beach and parks area. Does your agency have jurisdiction over the wider community, such as just road vendors? Not beach and parks.
Only beaches, parks, road vendor, verges, medians, and anything that is government-owned. When I say anything that is government-owned, a place where someone can vend and it belongs to government. So even if it's in the community and there's a government building or a side of the road, we will allow persons to conduct business there.
Okay. And the reason I asked that because I have observed vendors on major streets. They just seem to pop up. Is there a protocol as to say only 5 can be on a street between a
Yes.
1 mile area?
Yes, we would only allow 2 persons in the same area, but they cannot be selling the same thing. And we do have other areas where you cannot vend at any given time. But we do have persons who go and set up. They set up without a permit. And once our inspector goes out and we find that out, we tell them that they cannot, they'll have to look for another area that is suitable for them and their business. But we do have a cutoff point, and we do have areas where no one can or should not be vending at all times.
Thank you.
Good evening. Ms. Spence, I have a question for you as well. Beaches and parks is responsible for the parks, but I'm the General Secretary for the Small School Association, and we usually have basketball, volleyball on Tom Grant Park. For the past 10 years, I've been writing letters. There's no lighting. We would have to end volleyball games early. because the light on the volleyball court is being down. And I think I passed it this week and it's still down. Who can I now write to get that rectified, to get that park lighted so that kids can use it and not just the criminal elements?
You'll have to address that letter to the managing director, who is Mr. David Barry, or to the chairman, Mr. Mikhail Barnaby.
Good evening. Any one of you gentlemen here. My question is, why are criminals who are charged with serious crimes continue to have bail, especially murders, more than one? They continue to have bail.
That is out of the police hands. That's within the judiciary system.
Good evening to you again. Now, concerning right here in the Kemp Road area, Williams Lane, that is an area where people come and make a nuisance out of themselves with loud motorbikes, loud cars. They speed through Williams Lane, and they do this all day, all night. You might say, well, they have a right to do that. But you cannot be doing that late hours of the night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, with loud motorbikes. They ride in, they go to where they want to go, they come back out to the loud motorbike area. We have tried to get speed bumps through there, Williams Lane. And up to now, we are not able to get the speed bumps through there. And that's why most of the guys come and ride their bike through there, because they know they could come there with a high speed, spin around, ride around, all around, and they just cycle up and down the road. They cycle up and down the road. Sometimes they do that, cycle up and down through Williams Lane for half hour. Then when they get tired, they ride out and they go. When you look, another guy come through there. So we've been trying to get speed bumps through there, at least to control or slow down these guys, you know. And so far, we're not able to get any speed bumps through there. Oh yeah, the children come out of the schoolyard, and it's a danger to them, children in the schoolyard.
Okay, just to address his...
One second. Sir, yeah, because I wanted the question to be addressed before the third question comes. Yeah.
We take note of your concern, reference to the jitney bus speeding around. We didn't have that knowledge, that information. And so we saying this happen around what time you normally do this? Okay, that would be addressed. Thanks for your information. So, with respect to those motorcycles, every time people call with those motorcycles, you know, they'll run through a little shortcut, they'll run off the road until the police go, then they come back. But traffic division is doing something with respect to that. We had been on that earlier this week. I take note of your information as relates to speed bump. That will be forwarded to the necessary ministry.
Mr. Cook, we have urban renewal here. I know Mr. He's taking notes. These are some of the things that we're working on to get all the agencies in urban renewal. So persons like you, when you make a complaint, if you say right here, then we'll be able to channel that as quickly as possible. Speaking of that, okay, so the variance.
While we're on that, just before that question is asked, for the sake of clarity, I would wish the police to clarify the concern that Mr. Coakley has. Is that an offense? And if it is an offense, what is the offense for someone riding, I guess, in a dangerous manner, in a loud manner, at the early hours of the morning? First of all, can we identify what is the offense?
That would be a defective vehicle, driving a defective vehicle, loud muffler. That's a ticketable offense, and at any hour of the night, once they get caught, they could be ticketed for that offense. And with respect for the bus driver that's leaving their route, that's a ticketable offense also.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. What about the cameras? Y'all can't put up cameras, especially to Williams Lane. It's a serious thing going on there. I tied it hitting the floor. Trust me. That is ridiculous. Oh yeah. I don't know if it's Gaza Strip.
You're referring to the CCTV cameras. Okay, we'll take note of that.
Good evening, all. Mr. Maycock, you answered a question that I was about to ask about, so I'm happy to hear about the traffic division looking into those motorbikes, because one of my main concerns was not only Williams Lane, but every road I seem to go on, these fellas are prancing up on one wheel. I mean, coming into traffic, out of traffic, and it's like Sunday is a motorbike day. Everybody's prancing.
Yes, that they becoming a nuisance.
So I'm
March
happy you're
earlier
going to
this
deal
week,
with it.
we had a discussion on that, and
Right.
you will see something in effect.
Okay.
We are aware of the Gambia and Awaki, Porterski Dock and all that, especially through this traversing the streets daily.
Yeah, I'm talking about in the main areas, sir.
You're
Yesterday
right.
I was on Marquis Street, the fella come straight up at the at me. All over the place. But, gotcha. But my main concern, I have two points. One is for the beach at park. I normally exercise on Goodman's Bay, and I've been noticing that those seats on Goodman's Bay is in dire need of repair. I don't know if anybody's going. But beach and park, do you deal with those seats also? You know, where the folks sit out there? I don't know if anybody's go out there and actually do a report on them, but they are really deteriorating out there. That's one. The second point is for traffic again. I know the law is saying that you can turn left on these stoplights. Now, I listened to Mr. Lockhart, and I listened to him very carefully when he spoke about it. And he said there's only one area where the actual sign is. And I know where that area is. That's by the college, UB. So the question that I'd like to know is, are we going to put up signs so that the public can know where they can do these turns? Because I've run into a situation just coming here. I was heading out onto Prince Charles, and I was coming east, heading west, and the fellow was coming out of Sea Breeze, and he tried to time me heading up, and he came out in the front of me, so I had to break my speed in order not to hit him. So, you know, folks who just believe that they can come out of these streets anytime they want to. So I'm wondering if you guys are looking into that.
With the signs issue, that fall on the Ministry of Works. They're responsible for policing those signs. Yeah. Yes, it should be some intervention, but yeah, your point could be taken, and I'm taking notes. From here, when I go back to the next meeting at a higher level, that will be discussed.
Beach and Parks falls under the Ministry of Works, and we are in collaborations of taking some inventory regarding all of our parks, and we know that some of the benches and other facilities are there are wear and tear on it, so we are looking at trying to get all of them repaired. Yes, beaches, yeah, we fall under Ministry of Works and Facilities.
ASP Gilbert, or Maycock, anyone here. Just Sunday, I was coming to church. I saw the suspicious car. So I said, let me go to church. I went back home, car was still there. So I called my husband, I called my sons. I say, you want to see this vehicle? You. Call the police. I keep getting outside. I ain't see no police. I don't know when they came, but I know they didn't come right away. That's all I'm saying. They don't come right away, like you said. If you see a suspicious vehicle, let me say, call the police. I call my sons, them, and my husband. I call, I make 3 of them come outside. You all know this vehicle? No. But they got the straight. All I'm saying, they just don't come on time. They come like you said.
Okay, with a scenario like that, did you pass certain information on to the police, plate numbers and of various description? Because I encountered an incident like that last weekend. The residents were able to pass on some information reference to the type of vehicle, the plate number, same scenario, suspicious vehicle. They passed it on to one of the assistant commissioners of police. He, in return, sent me a WhatsApp, and I was able to pass that on to my deputy who was in office. We were able to search the numbers, make contact with persons who owned that vehicle, and they were able to tell us that the car was to the mechanic. They end up leaving it there at night and would return for it in the morning. So that may have happened in an incident like that. That's why you can pass the information on to the police. You may not see a car come physically, but things are being done behind the scenes.
Obviously, they're being there, but they didn't come.
Okay, so that's another example. So once I was able to contact the actual owner, there was no need to disperse a car to that location.
I just tell them to make it a car, but I
Okay, so that's what just run the numbers, pass it on to the various station, and things will be happening behind the scene immediately.
I just say they will come right away.
Okay.
You know, I can tell you, just on Tuesday, the commissioner expressed some concern about this time management of the vehicles getting moved. If you note, on yesterday, we deployed more vehicles on the street, so the time management now will be cutting down for you, people like you, who call the police in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, as the case will be. So just bear with us. You can see that in the near future, you'll be seeing the cars all over. Okay?
Thank you.
Anyway, good night. My question is for Ms. Spence. How many times are the swings, the bathrooms are supposed to be maintained and checked? Because those are the main things that can turn people off, especially the tourist people.
Is this in general? Okay, like I said to the gentleman, we know that some of our bathroom facilities are not working, and we are in the process of having them all repaired. Now, in the past, every time the bathrooms are being repaired and the swings are being repaired, within a month or 2 months, there's a break-in. All of the toilets are gone, all of the basins are gone, and the swings are broken. There were at one point in time where the swing was in a neighbor's yard, and the neighbor's yard was fenced in. We couldn't get in. So It's a lot of monies being spent trying to keep the parks upgraded, but we have people going in and stealing them. But we are in the process of having all of our bathrooms restored and the swings restored. I think I can say this, maybe in the future we will have park wardens to ensure that everything is secured for the neighbors.
I just want to give kudos to the rapid response, your beautiful new trucks. The police was doing a wonderful job, as far as I'm concerned, because we have been relieved of the loud music that plagued Periwinkle Lane and Periwinkle Alley for many years. One phone call to rapid response, they were there rapidly, and I have not had a noise since. Thank you very much.
Good night to all. I just want to reiterate about the speed bumps through Williams Lane. Government come in, government go. We always ask for the speed bump, but none never came. And the speed bumps through Williams Lane, that's a school zone for Uriah Murphy Primary School. And around 3 o'clock, it's crowded and people still speeding past like they're on a NASCAR racetrack. It's terrible. So please, Lord, please let Ministry of Works or whoever concerned to put the speed bump through Williams Lane by Uriah Murphy. That whole stretch, that whole area. Thank you.
Excuse me. As of tomorrow, Ministry of Works will be contacted pertaining and also be to let them know pertaining to the situation and how it could be handled. Okay. All right.
Securing your pets. I had a situation the other day. A pit bull came in my yard. I don't know where it came from, really. And I was tempted to shoot it. But I didn't. Now, what if I had shot that dog? You guys, my weapon is licensed. I'm just trying to figure out, would I have been in some problems if I had shot that dog in my yard?
Okay, when the dog came in their yard, were children in the yard, anything? Well, protection of life and property. That's your constitutional right. If your kids was in the yard and a ferocious dog come in the yard, you have the right to protect your property and your family.
This is a general question for all of the agencies. What is the most appropriate agency to deal with derelict vehicles? We seem to be, overburdened throughout the country with derelict vehicles.
Good night, everybody. Environmental Health is the agency that normally deals with derelict vehicles. Now, there's a problem. There was a cleanup campaign being done earlier part of this year where numerous amount of vehicles was removed from Balls Alley, St. James Road, Sutton Street, and also off Markey Street. And the vehicles was moved and the area came to a state of, I'll call it a fresh air. But here's the problem. The problem is that the minute you move those vehicles, you come back, the same position the vehicles was moved out, another vehicle is back there. So through Sutton Street, we removed about 40 vehicles through, not Sutton Street, sorry, Balls Alley. If you go Balls Alley right now, it's like a graveyard, right now. So with urban renewal, we normally do our jobs to make sure that we revitalize the community, but also the community have to be able to help us, help y'all. So if we remove something, help us by not allowing it to go back there. Okay?
Mr. McKenzie, just before you complete your answer, you're saying that there's a problem because it continues to occur. Is there a penalty for it? Because if there is not a penalty, then obviously it continues. What is the penalty?
The penalty is when the Ministry of Works came there prior, they normally put a sticker on each vehicle, give it a period of time to be removed. But if the owner of that vehicle doesn't remove, then they'll be put before the courts, and basically the courts takes over from there. But if each person take care of their own neighborhood, I feel that Freetown could be a better community, by looking out for it, by being your brother's keeper.
I want to push you a little further. You said that the court will take over from there. Ultimately, what is the penalty, though?
Normally, the penalty could either be a fine or it leads to a greater amount from there, and we all know what that means. So, like I say, the campaign which we had, to reiterate again, the campaign which we had, we felt that we done well for the Freetown community, but the minute we remove a vehicle, Freetown community members put another vehicle back there. And also to add to that, just saying, the other day we put bins through White's Edition, Balls Alley, Camp Road, Williams Lane. I put 2 bins through Williams Lane. I put through Balls Alley. All of those was donated by the Ministry of Works. When I put bins through Balls Alley, the way the bins went in Balls Alley is the way the bin come back out. So I'm assuming that they want us to come now there and pick up their garbage and put it in the bin for them. So I'm saying this again. I'm from Kemp Road. I'm from here. And I feel that if we can be able to just look out for one another, especially the area where you live in, if you can look out for the corner where you live in, I feel that Kemp Road can be a better place. We could remove the stigma, remove what's going on, and just let's live.
The 2 points I came to really deal with was Periwinkle Lane, speed bumps, Williams Lane, and the derelict vehicles. I have 3 in my yard. I've been asking them to move, and the fellas came through. I said, could you all move them for me? They went all around Camp Road, Williams Lane, looking for cars, and refused to move mine. I thought it was spiteful. I'm asking you to move it. I'm telling you, that one. And they didn't move it, and it's still there right now. If you go through Williams Lane, my car's opposite the school. I want them gone. I even put on, tell people to come and take it. You want it for parts, take it, but you have to carry the whole car. It's still sitting there. I appreciate it. It's in my yard, right opposite the school. I have 2 on the outside in an open lot opposite the school, and I have 2 in the yard. And I want them gone. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I myself, when I was the deputy commander in Eastern South Position, I that were parked in front of the school. I made it my business to find the owner, serve them with a summons. They served approximately 6 months each in prison. So there are offenses and there are fines that can be levied against the person responsible for it. Okay?
Yeah, one more thing for me. Cars being parked on basketball courts, and I mean the police passing. I know we called the police before for Tom Grant Park. There's usually 6 cars, so I had to move the basketball kids away from where they park their cars on the actual court. A few weeks ago, the court in Carmichael Road, I called the police, told them there's some cars being parked. Now, the good thing is they now put a fence around it. But it seems like there's no law, no order in Yellow Elder, or even some of the parks in Kemp Road. You see cars parked on the basketball courts. The courts and the playgrounds are for the kids to use. So I'm sure there should be some mechanism in place. Police see the cars parked on the courts. Why are the cars parked on the courts? The basketball courts aren't for the cars. So obviously something is happening while they're on the court. Is there something in place? Or, I mean, other than the police, just because yesterday I'm heading home on the highway and I wanted to take a picture of the plate, but the police was looking at me. He turned on his siren in the middle of the traffic and he passed me. And when he got further along, another car was in front of him, so he turned the siren off and I was right next to him. I want to take a picture so bad and send it to the commissioner because I'm sure he turned his siren just to get out the traffic. And I could have been using him for something else on the road. But is there something in place, you know, for stuff like that, with the parks and the cars being parked on the courts?
All right, just to respond to your first question as it alludes to the cars being parked on the. Once you call the police, I'm sure that they're gonna come and they're gonna speak with those persons to remove those vehicles. There are a number of things that may happen in the community that the police may not be aware of, but I'm positive once the police is aware of something like that, they definitely will respond because we know that the car is not for the basketball court.
I know that time is progressing, and I think we would probably entertain one more question or so. And as I commence, I talk about being in a militant environment and we are time sensitive. And so it's 9 p.m. I think we would entertain the last question from the gentleman here, after which there will be a response. And I know the pastor is here, and we would wish for him to bring some remarks, after which we would entertain Sergeant Penniman, who will give us the word of thanks.
I am not going to ask any questions, but I'd just like to make a statement. I am glad to be here tonight, and I've learned a lot of things. I, at one time, used to speak bad about the police, but I'm mightily impressed to see the things they're doing. And I think that we ought to give them a round of applause. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your positive remark. At this point, we're going to invite Pastor Butler to make some brief remarks, and after which the vote of thanks will be given by Sergeant Penniman.
Thank you very, very much. And I must say this is a very proactive initiative that is taking place here tonight, and I want to commend those in charge for doing that, bringing the community together and having the various government partners to come together and to be able to give positive information about what's going on. And so let's thank these officers for doing a good job. And the other persons represent the other groups. Thank you so much. Thanks for doing that. I appreciate that. And so, God bless all of you. We can probably do some more of this, and I know it's going from community to community. As pastor of Kemp Road, and I've been here in this church for 40 years now, and the one thing I would like to see happen, though, and let me tell you, I love the police. We need the police. The police are our friends, and so we are grateful for you. As a matter of fact, I desired to be a police at one point before God called me into ministry. As a matter of fact, my first degree is in criminal justice from the school in Michigan, from Waynes in Michigan. And so, but God called me into the ministry, and this is where I'm at now, and I'm grateful for that. But here, then let me also say, I had three of my brothers that served in the police force. The one who's presiding right now, he at one point was a police officer. He's gone into another government agency, and he was partner on a winner in his day. Then another brother who was at the back doing the technician, he's at National Insurance, but he was to the police, and he was partner on a winner in his day. And then you all know ACP Butler. So we love the police. We really love the police. Okay. So some of my cousins sitting right in here right now on the police force, and one of the presenters. Okay. And let me say Lavardi. That's right. I see. I don't know if it's Sergeant Major or I saw him out there. That's another cousin of mine. Okay. And so I love the police. Let me tell you, I love the police. And I had others who's it? Davis. Yes, another family member right there. Good to see you too. Okay, God bless. So you see, I'm surrounded by police officers. Okay, and I'm so blessed for that. But let me say this last thing, because we believe in time. One of the concerns that I have, though, as relates to Kemp Road, is it just seems, and maybe we can say something to the news media about it, it seems that anything that is negative, it has just become a glaring thing for the Kemp Road community. I'm going to tell you, I really detest that. I often say, if something happened on Mackey Street, they'll say, off Kemp Road. I don't hear that. If something could happen on Taylor Street, I don't hear Taylor Street off East Street. You don't hear that. But it's like you got to put it on Kemp Road. Please, we need to do something about that. I've been here for 40 years. Because people like to hear the good story. I've been here for 40 years. It could happen tomorrow. 40 years. Not one member could say, I had to say, oh, lock all the doors, because guns shooting all around here. Not one time. But everything is bad about Kemp Road. And it seems like people love it. Please, the perception has to be changed, because there are some good things and some good people in Kemp Road. And so that's one thing I would like. They mentioned about the removal of cars and all of those. This is a main thoroughfare. If you're talking about Kemp Road now, main thoroughfare from Paradise Island to go in, a lot of tourists pass right through here and everything. It should not be an eyesore, really, when it comes to cars and all of that, this community. A lot of people pass through here. And some people could seem to get away with it, and they shouldn't get away with it. And I would really like to see where we put down our foot that you cannot just park old cars anywhere. Rodents, people could hang out in those old cars. They could hide weapons in those old cars. And so something has to be done as relates to that. That's the only thing I would say. But listen, but overall, let's give the police high marks for the job that they're doing. Let me make one last point. And let me say you have a good cooperation, because over the years, where's Sergeant Penniman? Where's Sergeant Penniman? Where? Oh, right there. And then there's Officer Bain. Where's Officer Bain? Right there. If nobody knew it, if I called the station, they come in. And they will, and not for any bad thing, and let me tell you, they show up We have the school here. They talk to the students. We have a program here for students that are suspended, the suspension program. They'll just show up and talk, and they'll be a part of positive things. Anything positive, you call on them, they're there. And I want you all to give them a round of applause because they are doing a good job in all over the world. Thank you again. Thank those who came. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you so much, Superintendent. So much for, Superintendent Pratt for this initiative tonight. God bless you. I'm happy that you all came. Thank you for coming.
Pleasant night to all. I stand under established protocol. Every good thing must come to an end. And now this session has come to an end. To Dr. Ivan Butler, Senior Pastor of the Kemp Road Ministry, and Lady Butler in her absence, we want to thank you for your sanctuary, for using this hall for this occasion. To Minister Butler, who ably moderates tonight's event, we want to say thank you. Superintendent Maycock and the Northeastern Division, I must say a heartfelt thank you for your support, for coming out tonight. I must say thank you, Superintendent Maycock and Superintendent Thompson. ASP Lavardi and ASP Gilbert from the CDU Department, we want to say thank you for enlightening us with your knowledge. So we'll take your knowledge back to the community and share with our colleagues and residents in the Kemp Road community. Also, I want to thank Ms. Spence from Roads and Parks. We will say thank you for being a part of our panelists. To Mr. Peggy McKinsey, our Center Manager for Freetown. Trust me, he is doing his best within the community. He is trying and making sure our children, our seniors are safe within the community. It is teamwork. Teamwork. If we don't have no team, definitely we can't get the job done. Teamwork make it easy, and teamwork make it easy for everybody. So it's teamwork with Wolf Road Police Station, Urban Renewal Center, as well as our community policing services. Also, I want to thank Superintendent Pratt for the great idea, the initiative to go to every community within New Providence and also the Family Island to have this crime prevention symposium to enlighten us as well as even those who are coming from far and near. I see some of my friends came who were not in the community, but they came because crime is everywhere and crime is everyone's business. Also, I want to thank the residents and my colleagues from the community policing services for coming out and supporting the Freetown community, the Northeastern within this community. So thanks everyone for coming out and take the knowledge back, share it, do not keep it. That's how we learn. Share it, share it, share it. Once we share it, then it makes all of our work much easier. Thank you. Have a pleasant night.
Thank you. I'm advised and happy to announce that refreshments are being served to the eastern side of the building here. And that's my final comment. Thank you again, and good night to all of you.